Hello students, now in this video let us see the quartile deviation. In previous video we have finished the range. Now here let us see the quartile deviation. Now range is based on two extreme items and it fails to take account of the scatter or the distribution within the range. Now to overcome this drawback, there has been developed a major called the interquartile range. Now what does this? The range which include 50% of distribution, 50% of the distribution, which are ordinarily free of extreme values, is an interquartile range. In other words, you will get, this is very simple language. In other words, what can we say? The interquartile range represents the difference between the third quartile and the first quartile. Now means what? This is what? The interquartile range. I can write, therefore the interquartile range is what? This is Q3 minus what? Q1, third quartile and the first quartile, difference between them. So in simple language you can remember the interquartile range is this one. Now further the interquartile range is reduced to semi-quartile range or the semi-interquartile range, or it is also known as quartile deviation. It is also known as quartile deviation. Okay, by dividing it by 2, by dividing it by 2. Therefore, the quartile deviation, it is denoted by QD, or the semi-quartile range. Let me write. Therefore, the semi-interquartile range, or it is also known as what? The quartile deviation. Quartile deviation. Then what does this? This is half of, dividing it by 2 means what? Half of this one. Half of what? Q3 minus Q1. Divide to whom? This interquartile range is divided by 2. It means this interquartile range here. So interquartile range is what? Q3 minus Q1. So this result is what? The semi-interquartile range, or the quartile deviation, is what? Half times Q3 minus Q1. You know very well the Q3 and Q1 from previous chapter. We have already learned the quartiles in that chapter. So here this semi-quartile range is what? This, where you know this Q1 is the first quartile, Q3 is what? The third quartile. Fine. Now this quartile deviation is what? An absolute measure of dispersion. This, let me write down that thing here. This quartile deviation, quartile deviation is an absolute measure of what? Dispersion. Absolute measure of dispersion. This thing you should note. This is an absolute measure of dispersion. Now let us see what is relative measure of dispersion here. The relative measure of dispersion is what? Relative measure of dispersion. Now what does this? This is here the relative measure of dispersion to this measure means to the quartile deviation. The relative measure of dispersion to quartile deviation. Is called the coefficient of quartile deviation. Coefficient of quartile deviation. Now what is the result for it? The coefficient of quartile deviation is given by what? Q3 minus Q1 upon Q3 plus Q1 It is used to compare the degree of variation. In different distributions. It is used to compare the degree of variation in different distributions. Now let us see the merits and demerits of quartile deviation. So merits and demerits of quartile deviation. So let us see them first. Let us let us see merits. So the first merit is again the same everywhere. It is simple to understand and easy to calculate. It is simple to understand and easy to calculate. Easy to calculate. Okay. Then the second one, it is not influenced by the extreme values. It is not influenced by the extreme values. Third one, as it is the middlemost part, it will be the lowest 25 degree and highest 25 degree of the items are what eliminated here. So in between that the data is considered here. That's why it is not influenced by the extreme values. Now the third one, it can be found with open end distribution also. Open end distribution. Wherever the open end classes are there, that time also we can determine the quartile deviations. Fine. Then the next one is that it is a better measure. It is a better measure than the range. As it makes the use of middle 50% of the data. Now let us see. Obviously there are some merits and there are some demerits also. So demerits are what? The demerits are, now the first one, it cannot be regarded as a reliable means a faithful measure. It cannot be regarded as a reliable measure, as it ignores the first 25% of the items and the last 25% of the items of the data. This is the very first demerit of it. It will be considered only the middle 50% of the data. That's why it is not the sure measure. It cannot be regarded as a sure measure. Fine. Now the next one is that the second demerit, you can see, it is positional average. It is positional average. Hence not used to further mathematical treatment. Hence cannot be used for further mathematical treatment. Okay. Then the next one, its value is affected by its value is affected by sampling fluctuations. Its value is affected by sampling fluctuations. These are the demerits of it. Now, let us solve some examples on this one. So, the first example is that find the value of quartile deviation and the coefficient and its coefficient from the following data. So, let us see what will be the data. So, example, find the value of quartile deviation and its coefficient from the data. Now what is the data? Now the data, the observations are given 15, 11, 11, 28, 22, 14, 13, 18, 30, 12 and 25. Now as here we have to determine the quartiles. You know the quartiles are the Q1 is what it will be obtained by considering or eliminating simply previous 25% data. Now Q2 is nothing but the median. What it will be considering first 75% of the data. Fine. So here we have to determine, first of all, while finding these quartiles, we are arranging our data in ascending order. The same thing here also we will do. So here, what is the solution here? The solution in that one, what is step 1? Step 1 is arrange the data in ascending order. Ascending order of magnitude. Ascending order of magnitude. Okay. So while arranging the ascending order of magnitude, we get 11, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 22, 25, 28 and 30 as such. So 11 twice, 12 is there, 13, 14, 15, 18, 22, 25, 28, 30. So how many observations are there? These are 11. So here n equal to what? 11. This is individual series distribution. So n is equal to 11. So we need the value of n for that, finding the quartiles. So step 2, we will determine the quartiles. So find Q1, let us find Q2 also and Q3. Actually Q2 is not required to us. If we find simply Q1 and Q3, this is enough. So let me say find Q1 and Q3. Therefore, now what is Q1? Q1 is what? The value of, as n is odd, which is odd. N is odd, so this is the value of n plus 1 by 4th item. N plus 1 by 4th means what is here? The value of, what is n is 11. 11 plus 1 by 4 means what? This is 11 plus 1 by 4th item. That is the value of third item. Simplification will be what? The value of third item. What is third item? Look at here. The third item is what? 12. So Q1 is what? 12. Fine. Now, what is Q3? Q3 is what? The value of 3 times n plus 1 by 4th item. So this is value of, if we put n is equal to 11, we get, this is the value of 9th item. And what is 9th item? Look at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So 9th item will be what? 25. So Q3 is equal to 25. Therefore, now step 3. Let us determine quartile deviation. So what is quartile deviation? Quartile deviation is half times Q3 minus Q1. So what is half times? So what is Q3? 25 minus what? 12. So this is how much? 13 by 2. 13 by 2. So it will be what? 6.5. Now the last one is what? Last but not least, step 4 is what? The coefficient of quartile deviation. Its coefficients means what? The coefficient of quartile deviation. Now what does that? You know it. It is, already we have taken it in theoretical part, Q3 minus Q1 upon Q3 plus Q1. This is the formula for it. So you have the value of Q3, Q1 and all. So 25 minus 12 upon 25 plus 12. So this is 13 upon what? 37. So the value is 0.17567. This is our answer here. This is quartile deviation and this is the coefficient of it. Fine. As such, for the individual series distribution, we can easily determine it. Now, if n is even, you know the results for Q1, Q3. We had already taken them in previous chapter. If you have a doubt, you can go through those videos again. Fine. Now, let us see the next example for the continuous series or the grouped frequency distribution. This is an example for that. So now later on we will go for the next part. So calculate quartile deviation. Calculate quartile deviation and its coefficient. For the data. Now what will be the data? The data is given as wages per hour. Wages per hour. That are given in rupees. Wages per hour are given in rupees. Now what are they? 6 to 8, 8 to 10, 10 to 12 and exceeding 12. These are the class intervals or the open end classes are these. So these are given, but it doesn't affect. We simply calculate the number of workers. We can easily calculate this quartile deviation and its coefficient here, as it is one of the merit of it. Fine. Now what will be the frequency here? Here the frequency is 85, here it will be 65, here it is 59 and 50. Now let us solve this problem to find quartile deviation and all. So solution. Now for continuous frequency distribution, we need to obtain less than cumulative frequency that are required in the formulas. Okay. So let me prepare a table first. So wages per hour. This is in rupees, and number of workers. Number of workers are nothing but what? The frequency here. Frequency and less than cumulative frequency, that is also needed to us. Fine. So wages per hour are what? 6 to 8, 8 to 10, 10 to 12 and exceeding 12. So what are number of workers are what? 85, 65, 59 and 50. Less than type cumulative frequency, many times we have taken it. This is 85 plus 65 will be 150. Then 150 plus 59 is how much? 209. 209 plus this, so 259. Now this table we need. Now from this we can get the Q1 class, Q3 class and other also if required. Fine. Now from this less than type cumulative frequency we will get that summation Fi, that is nothing but our capital N is required to us to determine quartiles, is how much? 259. Total frequency is 259. Now let us determine the Q1 first. So first Q1, for Q1 let me work. So first of all we need to find n by 4. What is n by 4? 259 upon 4. So it is 64.75. It will be 64.75. Now we have to look for the less than type cumulative frequency which is just greater than this 64.75 first time. Now here this is what? 85 is just greater than that, but first time these are also greater, but the first time greater is which one? 85. So this 6 to 8 is what our, it gives Q1 class. Therefore we get 6 to 8 is Q1 class. This is required to us. Now as this is Q1 class, we can easily get the values. What is the formula for Q1? Q1 having the formula L plus what? N by 4 minus Cf dash upon what? F dash multiplied by H dash. Now what is this? L dash is what? The lower boundary of this class. N by 4 with us. Cf dash is what? The less than type cumulative frequency, the class prior to it. So now here there is no class, so this value is 0 here. F dash is the frequency of the same class and H is what? The class width. Fine. So now let me write these values with us. Here L dash is what? 6. N by 4 with us. So Cf dash is what? 0. F dash is what? 85. And H dash is what? 2. Fine. The class width is what? 2. These are continuous classes. Therefore Q1 equal to, what is Q1 then? 6 plus, put up the values here, 6 plus N by 4 is how much? 64.75 minus 0 upon F dash means 85 multiplied by 2. Now while doing this calculation we get this is 7.5235. You can do on your own. First of all solve this and later on add with 6. So this will be the 7.5235. Now similarly let us do for Q3. For Q3 we need to obtain 3n by 4. So what is 3n by 4? 3 times 259 upon 4. So it will be 194.25. The answer is 194.25. So again go towards the less than type cumulative frequency. The less than type cumulative frequency greater than this first time. So it is here 209. So this gives our Q3 class. So what one? 10 to 12. Therefore this 10 to 12 is what? The Q3 class. Is Q3 class. This is Q3 class. What is the formula for Q3? It will be L double dash plus same 3n by 4 minus Cf double dash upon F double dash multiply by H double dash. So what is L double dash here? Here L double dash is nothing but this same 10. 3n by 4 with us. Fine. Cf double dash. What is Cf double dash? Cf double dash is nothing but the frequency prior to this Q3 class, less than type cumulative frequency. So this is what? 150. F double dash is the frequency of the same class. So it will be 59. And H double dash is again what? 2. Therefore Q3 is, what is Q3 then? This 10 plus how much? 194.25 minus 150 upon what? 59 multiplied by 2. So simplification of this one gives 11.5. So Q3 is how much? 11.5. Now once we got them, we can easily get the quartile deviation what is quartile deviation is half of Q3 minus Q1. So this is half of what is Q3? 11.5 minus Q1 is how much? 7.5235. So the quartile deviation, the value of it is what? 1.98825. Fine. Now the fourth one, its coefficient. So coefficient of quartile deviation. So what does that? It is Q3 minus Q1 upon Q3 plus Q1. You can put up the Q3, Q1 are you. Now that will be 11.5 minus 7.5235 upon 11.5 plus 7.5235, and this answer will be, that answer is what? 0.209. 0.209 is this the answer here, coefficient of quartile deviation. So as such, for the continuous frequency distribution, we can easily determine the quartile deviation and the coefficient of quartile deviation. Fine. Now next video we will see the variance and the standard deviation. Fine. Also we will see the variance and standard deviation for combined group. Okay. Thank you.